The young and the restless spoilers shock. Amy's eyes were swollen and red from crying, the tears streaming down her cheeks as she sat in the dimly lit living room of the old mansion. For so long, the silence between her and her son Damian had grown like a chasm, deep and unforgiving. But tonight was different. Tonight, Damian had taken the brave step of approaching her in Nate, a gesture that marked the beginning of reconciliation after years of misunderstanding and hidden secrets. Damian's arrival had stirred a tumultuous mix of emotions in Amy. She had long dreamed of the day when her estranged son would forgive her and return to the warm embrace of a loving family. In her quiet moments, she had imagined a future where every tear shed was replaced by the gentle caress of a reconciliatory hug, and every word of regret transformed into affirmations of love and understanding. Yet, the reality of that dream had always seemed as distant as a mirage on a scorching desert day. Now, as Damian stepped into the room with Nate by his side, the atmosphere was charged with a bittersweet promise of healing. "Why did you leave me?" Damian's voice broke through the silence, thick with a mix of anguish and anger. His eyes, normally so full of determination, now shimmered with tears as he confronted the woman he had both loved and resented. "Why did you sell me to that rich family?" His accusation echoed against the walls, reverberating with years of pent-up pain and unanswered questions. Amy's heart ached at the sight of her son's suffering. Her voice trembled as she began to recount the painful memories of the past, a narrative woven with hardship, regret, and an overwhelming sense of inevitability. "When you were born, Damian," she said softly, "I was drowning in poverty. I had nothing to offer you, no means to provide even the simplest necessities of life. Every day was a struggle, and every moment was a battle against despair." She recalled the harsh reality of those early days, a fragile infant wrapped in threadbare blankets, her small hands trying desperately to hold on to hope despite the crushing weight of her circumstances. "I did what I thought was best for you," Amy continued, her voice laced with sorrow. "I believed that by placing you with a wealthy family, you would have opportunities one could never provide. I was forced to make that choice, though it shattered my heart in ways I never thought possible." The story spilled forth like a torrent. Amy revealed that Nate's father, a man of influence in Genoa, had been instrumental in her downfall. In a cruel twist of fate, he had cast her out of the city, leaving her to navigate the dark alleys of despair with little hope of redemption. "He forbade me from speaking about our past, from sharing the truth of your early life," she confessed. "I was silenced by forces much larger than myself, and in that silence, I lost you." Damian's face, once etched with anger, softened as the weight of his mother's words sank in. For years, the questions that had tormented him were met with cold indifference or hollow explanations. Now, confronted with the raw truth of Amy's past, his eyes filled with tears of both sorrow and relief. The barriers that had long separated him from his mother began to crumble. The burden of resentment, once so heavy that it threatened to consume him, started to lift as he realized that the pain they both shared was rooted in the same deep well of suffering. In a moment of profound catharsis, Damian's defenses fell away. He began to cry, a release of all the pent-up emotions that had weighed him down for so many years. "I'm ready to forgive you, Mom," he whispered, his voice trembling with sincerity. The simple words carried the promise of a new beginning, a future where forgiveness would pave the way for healing and love. "All the years of anger and hurt. I want them to end now." Amy's heart swelled with both remorse and relief as she pulled Damian into a tender embrace. Tears mingled as they clung to each other, the past's wounds slowly knitting together under the salve of forgiveness. In that warm, tearful moment, Amy and her son vowed silently that they would never let the shadows of their past tear them apart again. They clung to one another, fortified by the understanding that sometimes the deepest love is born out of the most profound pain. However, just as the atmosphere of reconciliation began to take root, an undercurrent of tension started to emerge, a foreshadowing of the challenges yet to come. The fragile peace that had been so painstakingly built was about to be threatened by an unexpected twist. Whispers of a looming betrayal, hidden agendas, and unresolved conflicts from the past began to swirl in the background, threatening to shatter the delicate balance they had just begun to restore. Nate, who had silently observed the exchange, now stepped forward with a troubled look in his eyes. "There's something you both need to know," he said, his voice carrying the weight of an impending storm. "This isn't the end. We're standing on the brink of something much more dangerous." His words hung heavily in the air, a stark reminder that even the most heartfelt reconciliations can be disrupted by forces beyond one's control. Amy and Damian exchanged a wary glance. The promise of unity and healing was now intertwined with the uncertainty of what lay ahead. The truth that had been unleashed was not just a salve for old wounds, it was also a key that had opened a door to secrets that many had long tried to keep buried. The repercussions of those secrets were poised to upend the fragile calm that had just begun to settle over their lives. As the three of them stood there, caught between the past and an uncertain future, a chill ran down Amy's spine. She knew that the reconciliation they had just embraced was merely the opening act of a much larger drama, a drama filled with twists, unforeseen challenges, and the ever-present possibility of heartbreak. Yet, in that moment, amidst the tearful confessions and heartfelt apologies, there was a glimmer of hope. Hope that the truth, no matter how painful, could be the first step towards true healing. The family's journey had taken an unexpected turn. Where once there was only pain and abandonment, there now existed a tentative bridge of forgiveness. But as the storm clouds gathered on the horizon, the question remained, would this newfound unity withstand the trials that were inevitably on their way? Could the bonds of love and forgiveness hold strong against the relentless tide of betrayal and secrecy? Amy, with Damian cradled in her arms, resolved to face whatever challenges lay ahead. "We'll get through this," she murmured, her voice steady despite the uncertainty. "No matter what comes our way, we won't let it tear us apart again." Her words were a promise, a vow to protect the fragile harmony that had been so hard-won. In that vow lay the determination to fight against the darkness of their shared past and to embrace a future defined by understanding, love, and, above all, the courage to confront the truths that had long been hidden. Damian, still reeling from the flood of emotions, nodded slowly. He too understood that forgiveness was not a destination but a journey, one that required continuous effort and unwavering trust. The tears they shed were not just a symbol of their pain, but also a testament to their willingness to start anew, to rebuild what had been broken, and to face the impending challenges with a united front. As the night deepened and the first hints of dawn began to illuminate the sky, the trio stood together, bound by the promise of a better tomorrow. The shadows of the past might still linger, and the road ahead would undoubtedly be fraught with obstacles. Yet, in that quiet, fragile moment of togetherness, there was a spark of hope, a hope that no matter how turbulent the journey, the strength of their bond could weather any storm. But just as they began to believe that healing was within reach, an unexpected disturbance shattered the fragile calm. A mysterious figure emerged from the darkness, a person whose presence hinted at secrets and motives that could further complicate their already tumultuous lives. This new development was a stark reminder that while some wounds might heal, others were capable of reopening with a vengeance, threatening to undermine the hard-earned reconciliation. In the ensuing silence, as the weight of the unknown pressed down upon them, Amy and Damian exchanged one last look, a silent acknowledgement that while the road ahead was uncertain, they would face it together. The echo of Nate's forewarning resonated in their minds as they braced themselves for the impending storm. The night was far from over, and the promise of peace was now shadowed by the prospect of new conflicts, unanticipated betrayals, and the constant struggle between the past and the future. And so, with hearts intertwined and eyes wide open to the challenges that awaited, they stepped forward into the darkness. Their journey was just beginning, a journey marked by pain, redemption, and the relentless pursuit of truth. In the end, it was not the absence of hardship that defined them, but the courage to confront it, the willingness to forgive, and the strength to believe that even in the face of overwhelming odds, love could light the way. Amy's eyes, once so full of determination and love, now betrayed the deep, lingering pain that had become a constant companion over the past few years. Every time she looked into the mirror, the lines on her face told the story of countless sleepless nights, battles fought against an unforgiving disease, and a heart heavy with regret yet brimming with hope for one last chance at healing. Her time in Genoa was growing short. The advanced stage of her cancer had robbed her of peaceful sleep and dulled her once vibrant spirit, yet in her heart, she believed that she could face the end with a sense of fulfillment, if only she could see her family united one final time. Amy had always been a fighter. Even as the disease gnawed at her body and her strength waned with each passing day, she remained determined to mend the broken bonds that had long divided her family. With Nate and Damian finally standing side by side as full brothers, a union born not just of shared blood but of shared suffering and sacrifice, she saw a glimmer of hope for a future where forgiveness and love might triumph over decades of pain and separation. Late one quiet evening, as Genoa's skyline shimmered under the gentle caress of twilight, Amy called Nate and Damian into her modest bedroom. The space, once a sanctuary of memories, now felt charged with the gravity of finality. Her frail voice, trembling yet resolute, broke the silence. "My dear boys," she began, "my time here is short. The cancer has taken so much from me already, but it has also taught me the true value of what we have left, each other." Her gaze moved between Nate and Damian. "You two are more than brothers, you are my legacy. You must protect each other, no matter what challenges come our way. Life is unpredictable, and even as I prepare to leave, I need you both to promise that you will stand together, united in love and purpose." Damian, who had spent years in Los Angeles struggling to carve out his own identity amidst the bright lights and harsh realities of a city that had offered little solace, felt a familiar tug at his heart. The memory of his mother's warm embrace and the longing for a life filled with genuine love, rather than the ceaseless grind of hardship, surged within him. "But Mom," he hesitated, "Los Angeles is all I've known for so long. It's hard to imagine uprooting everything, and Genoa is so different." Amy's eyes softened with both sorrow and maternal wisdom. "I know it seems daunting, my son. But Genoa holds a promise of a full, richer life, a life where you no longer have to suffer in isolation. Here, surrounded by those who love you, you will have a place to rebuild your spirit. Nate and you, together as brothers, can create something beautiful from the ashes of our past." Nate, standing by Amy's bedside with quiet determination, added his own gentle plea. "Damian, we've both endured so much alone. We've seen the cost of our family's secrets and the heartache they've left behind. But here in Genoa, we have a chance to start over, together. We can face whatever comes our way as one. We are stronger united than we ever were divided." Amy's frail hand reached out to both of them, the gesture imbued with the weight of every unspoken word and every tear shed in the long, lonely nights. "Your lives are precious to me," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the hum of the hospital machines. "I have always hoped for a day when I would be forgiven, when I could see you both thriving in a life full of hope and promise. I need you, my boys, to protect and cherish each other." As the gravity of her request settled in, silence blanketed the room, punctuated only by the soft hum of a ceiling fan and the distant sounds of Genoa City at night. For Damian, the decision loomed large. The idea of leaving behind Los Angeles, a city that had been his crucible of pain and perseverance, was terrifying. Yet, the thought of returning to Genoa, of reclaiming the family bond that had been tarnished by years of separation and secrets, ignited a spark of longing deep within him. He recalled the many times he had dreamt of a life where his mother's love wasn't a distant memory, but a living, breathing presence that gave him strength. In the days that followed, Damian wrestled with the enormity of his decision. The bustling streets of Los Angeles, with their relentless pace and relentless demands, suddenly felt empty. His heart ached for the connection he had once taken for granted, a bond with his brother and with the woman who had loved him so fiercely, even if her choices had once caused him immeasurable pain. Late at night, as he stared at the city lights through the window of his small apartment, Damian found himself haunted by memories of happier times, moments of shared laughter with Nate, the warmth of Amy's hugs, and the unspoken promise of a future where they would be together, unburdened by the ghosts of the past. One crisp morning, after a night of restless introspection, Damian made his decision. With a resolve that surprised even himself, he picked up the phone and dialed Amy's number. The line crackled softly before her gentle voice answered, laced with hope and trepidation. "Mom, I've made up my mind," he said, his tone firm yet tender. "I'm coming to Genoa. I want to try, truly try, to build a life where I don't have to face my demons alone." A surge of relief and joy flooded Amy's heart. Though her body was weakening, her spirit soared at the news. Tears streamed down her face as she whispered, "Thank you, my son. You have no idea how much this means to me." In that moment, Nate and Amy felt a silent, sacred promise being sealed, a commitment to unity, forgiveness, and the courage to face the uncertain future together. Yet, even as hope began to blossom anew in the family's fragile circle, an undercurrent of unease stirred beneath the surface. There were unresolved mysteries and lurking shadows from the past that threatened to upend the fragile peace they were just beginning to embrace. Rumors of a rival faction, hidden motives, and dark secrets that once tore the family apart had not entirely vanished. Whispers of impending challenges reached their ears, casting a subtle pall over their newfound resolve. But for now, with Amy's gentle command echoing in his heart and Nate's unwavering support at his side, Damian chose to embrace this fresh start. As he packed his belongings and prepared to leave behind the gritty streets of Los Angeles, he looked forward to a future filled with promise in Genoa. It was a future where he could rebuild his life, not just for himself but for the memory of a mother who had sacrificed so much out of love. Together, Nate and Damian would stand as living testaments to the power of forgiveness and unity, a beacon of hope in a world that often seemed determined to keep them apart. The journey ahead was fraught with uncertainties. Old wounds would need time to heal, and the scars of betrayal might never fully disappear. But the strength of family, fortified by years of shared pain and the longing for redemption, was a force that could weather any storm. In Genoa, amidst the bittersweet symphony of past regrets and future dreams, the family would have to navigate the treacherous waters of both love and loss. Damian's decision to move to Genoa was not simply a change in address, it was a commitment to transforming his life, embracing vulnerability, and taking a leap of faith into a realm where unity and love could mend even the deepest of scars. With Nate as his brother and Amy's legacy guiding him, he stepped forward into the unknown, ready to face whatever trials awaited him. In the end, the true measure of their strength would not be in the absence of pain, but in their collective willingness to stand together, to forgive, and to rebuild a life marked by resilience, hope, and unconditional love. The question now remains: will Damian's heart fully embrace this new beginning, leaving behind the bitterness of Los Angeles for the promise of Genoa? Only time will tell if the bonds of family can truly heal the wounds of the past and guide them toward a future where love prevails over all adversity.